Hey guys, this is Universes Beyond. Welcome back. You're back with myself, Yordo, and Samwise Buzzspell. We're doing our third deck tech on this channel today. It's going to be centered around one of the upcoming commanders out of the upcoming Assassin's Creed sets. So stay tuned as it's going to be a banger. So into this deck, we've got a commander which focuses around Assassin's tactics, a focus on creatures with assassin in their type or ability that represent the skills of an assassin. So basically, you've got an assassin tribal deck here. That's what we're looking at, really. Exile and return cards that exile creatures from the graveyard to utilize. Here's the commander's name. Ability to create token copies. Strategic strikes. So basically spells that allow for targeted removal of threats, symbolizing a assassin's precise strike. And then you've got some unity and brotherhood. I love this because Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was one of my favorite games of all time. Probably top 10, actually, to be fair, because it's an absolute banger. PS3 days were good times, man. Good times. Cards that create tokens or benefit from having multiple creatures representing the unity of the Assassin's Brotherhood. Banger. I love this. I just put a little bit of kind of context to like bring it into the Assassin's Creed. And without further ado, here is the assassin of today and the commander of today. So this is Altair. I'm not going to pronounce that second part, so I'm just going to call him Altair for today, just because I don't want to butcher it, basically. So Altair is a red, white, and a black. It's a legendary creature, human, assassin, and it has first strike, and it's a 3/3. And the ability here, which really gets me excited, because we kind of don't know enough about this specific thing yet, so let's get into it. So whenever Altair attacks, exile up to one target assassin creature card from your graveyard with a memory counter on it. So this is the bit that we don't know yet, but let's finish this and we'll talk about it. Then for each creature card you own in exile with a memory counter on it, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it. Exile those tokens at the end of combat. So basically what it's saying is there must be a way of being able to put memory counters on a permanent. I presume this is going to be a way of putting a memory counter on a permanent when it's in your graveyard or before it goes to your graveyard. Maybe what it is when your creature dies, you put a memory counter on it. And then if you've got a memory counter on it, you exile it basically on this ability. So if Altair attacks, you exile an assassin creature card from your graveyard. And then for each creature card you own in exile with a memory counter on it, you may have 5. You create a tapped attacking token that's a copy of it, exile those those tokens at the end of combat. So basically, what I think this strategy is, we've spoken about it already, but basically you want to get out as many assassins as possible. You want them to be pretty big, pretty beefy, and basically you could create a token copy of it via this exile method. So I think it's a really unique commander. I think it's pretty cool. It's a 3/3 and it only costs 3 to bring it into play. So I think it's a pretty good commander. I think it's going to be pretty lethal, and I think you're going to be seeing it around a lot of tables. So I am going to go into the next section. So the way we've broken this down is we've got Assassin's Creed includes. Now, a quick note is that there's only been a few Assassin's Creed cards that have been leaked so far. I think there's been like maybe 7 to 10 cards. And so we've only picked out a selection which actually fit in with this deck within the commander's color identity, of course. And then we've got lots of cards coming, which are from Magic the Gathering's history, which are very synergistic. And so if you want to pick these other cards up, from Magic the Gathering's history, you can do so ahead of time to prepare your commander deck, because of course, Assassin's Creed doesn't have any precons coming, so we're going to have to build our own, people. We're going to need to be inventive. So the first card here, Sam.
Ezio is a 1 and a black legendary creature. It's got a cheeky little bit of menace, and assassin spells you cast have 3 running, and this works really well because commander is an assassin. And free running is a new thing within a Assassin's Creed. Basically, if you pay the black, so the free running cost, it says you may cast a spell for its free running cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this turn with an assassin or commander. So basically, you can get some cheap spells getting put on if you've dealt damage, and you can basically play assassins for 2 black instead of whatever they might be. And then the second ability doesn't really matter for this deck because you probably won't have all of the colors in it, but basically if somehow you manage to, I don't know how to, but whenever this card deals combat damage to a player, you may pay all of those, and if that player has 10 or less life, when you do, that player loses the game. So it's a tasty card for a 3/2 and a 2-drop, and you're basically ramping all of your other assassins by only paying 2 black if you've dealt damage this turn, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. I think there's plenty of decks that can utilize this. But yeah, in this deck specifically, I think it'll be hard to get all of those colors. Yeah. But I mean, regardless, the other abilities are crazy for a 2-drop, and it's a 3/2 as well. So you're pretty much laughing here. Another Assassin's Creed card, which I really love, and I think this is going to be a banger, even outside of this set, is it's got Cover of Darkness, which is 1 of the black. As Cover of Darkness enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type have fear. They can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. So it's a pretty unique use case. You've kind of got to have, an opponent that's playing maybe maybe playing a green deck, not many artifacts, or I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty unique case, but I think for a 2-drop, nonetheless, you're going to be able to make your creatures pretty evasive. You're going to be able to deal some damage to some of your opponents, I'm sure. So it's a pretty good card, definitely going in this deck. And of course, we'll be choosing Assassin as the creature type. On to the next.
The Animus 2. It's just a 2-drop, colorless, legendary artifact. At the beginning, we've got end step, exile up to 1 target legendary creature card from a graveyard with a memory counter on it. So these cheeky little memory counters again. If you've got some in your graveyard, you can exile up to 1, and it's got to be a legendary creature. You can tap it, and until your next turn, target legendary creature you control becomes a copy of target creature cards in exile with a memory counter on it. Activate the sorcery. So you can have a little assassin on your table or on your battlefield, and then next thing you know, they're becoming a legendary creature.
It's crazy.
Well, they're becoming a copy of it, of a target creature, which it would be a legendary creature in this case.
I think it would need to be type you control. Oh my god, yeah, it does. Okay, so you could just have a damn. Okay, so you could just have like a really small, like 1/2 legendary creature, tap it, and then create it, basically turn it into a copy of one of your exile cards that has a memory counter on it. Damn, this goes so well with the commander.
Yeah,
holy crap.
Awesome.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's
for
nuts.
2 as well.
Nuts. Yeah, for a 2-drop. Crazy. And it's a legendary artifact as well, which is interesting. On to the next, Hidden Blade. If you watched any of our other 2 deck techs, this is pretty much going to be going in every one of our Assassin's Creed decks. So Hidden Blade is 2 to cost, so it's a 2-drop. It has flash, so it's an artifact in equipment with flash, which is very interesting. It has, when it enters the battlefield, attach it to a target creature you control. If that creature is an assassin, it gains Death Touch until the end of turn. So straight off the bat, that's a crazy ability. You've got flash, Death Touch, and then it also says equipped creature gets +1 and has First Strike. So the sheer fact that Death Touch and First Strike are here, they're doubling up together. Like, you're attacking first, right? So you will have Death Touch, and you'll be attacking first unless your opponent's creature that you're blocking, for example, has First Strike as well. But regardless, your dealer, you got Death Touch here, so you're going to survive an attack even from a beastie card, and you've got Death Touch. So even if it's a bloody even if it's a 0/0 before you equip it with this, right? It becomes a 1/0, and the sheer fact that it has Death Touch with 1/0, you're taking out anything that you block basically with it, as long as as long as you're blocking something with it. But and it has an equip cost of 2, so I think this is going to be included in a lot of decks. It's uncommon. It's crazy as an uncommon, but there we are. So on to the next, Sam. We are progressing on to the non-Assassin's Creed includes here. Some of the stuff from Magic's past that's going to be super thematic and perfectly synergized with this deck's commander. So we've got Sealed, Feast and Famine.
I love this card. I run this in one of my other decks. It's a 3 artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and green, which is just cool. Having protection from black and green. And then whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. That's amazing. I love that. You just basically ramping. This is a great way to get ramp into this deck, considering it doesn't run green. So maybe you're like, I'm not going to have a lot of ramp. This solves that. You've got your Sword of Feast and Famine. You're untapping all of your lands each turn whenever you, whenever you deal combat damage. It's great.
Yeah, and also just to mention, there is an Assassin's Creed, artwork of this card already that we've got on the screen. But the reason this is in this section is because it's been released in the past. So if you wanted to pick up a Sword of Feast and Famine, you could go get one now. This is a pretty cool version of it, if you ask me, though. I think it's pretty dope. So, on to the next. We've got Scarblade Elite. So this is a 2 black. So it's a black, sorry. So it's a 2-drop, and it's a creature. It's an elf assassin. And it has a tapped ability. Tap it and remove an assassin card in your graveyard from the game, and you get to destroy a target creature. So why this is so thematic is you tap it, you get to exile a card from the game, because that's what it means, remove it from the game. So if you choose one with a memory counter on it, you're getting the ability of your commander, basically. So you can put whatever card you want into exile, and you're destroying a target creature. So you're not paying anything. You're just exiling one of your cards from your graveyard, which is what you want to do. And you're destroying a target creature. So you've got a removal spell, as well as feeding into the strategy of your commander. And then you've just got more cards to choose from your exiled list for when you create a token copy. So this is perfect. It's a perfect card for only a 2-drop, and it's a 2/2 as well. So pretty good. Then it's now over to you, Sam.
Dark Imposter. It's a 2 black. It's a 2-drop and a black creature, vampire assassin. So this is still an assassin. You should get a vampire one. First ability, 4 and 2 black. Exile target creature and put a +1/+1 counter on Dark Imposter, and that doesn't have to tap it. So you can run this if you want to, and pump up Dark Imposter. And Dark Imposter has all activated abilities, all creature cards exiled with it. Wow.
Oh my god, man. Oh my god.
That'll work. That's going to be really cool.
It's going to be nuts. I think the interesting thing is that we're going to need to pay close attention to what happens with the memory counter. Like, how does it get on a creature? Because if it needs to enter the graveyard firstly, then this creature wouldn't give the memory counters. But if they're getting exiled and they get memory counters, then it's interesting, because then it's like, okay, you can put a card from your battlefield into exile, and you're getting +1/+1s. So that would feed into the mechanic perfectly of your commander. I think either way, this card will basically inherit all of the abilities of any creature card you've exiled. So I think it's pretty cool. And it's an assassin, as you said. So does bits. On to the next. We've got a Royal Assassin. So basically it's a 1 black. Pretty basic card, to be honest with you. It's a creature, human assassin, has a tapped ability, destroy a target tapped creature. I mean,
wow,
it's pretty standard, but the fact is, you haven't got to tap it and sack it. you're just tapping it, and then you're destroying a target tap creature. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's an ability that you can activate every turn, more or less, if your opponents have swung out at you, or if your opponents have swung out at another player. Like, you're staying out of it, and you're just like, you know what? I've seen the damage that they've done to one of my like co-players. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna get rid of that ancient copper dragon. Like, that bugger needs to go. It's got to go. But anyways, this is a 1/1 anyway. So I mean, it's a 3-drop, and you've got, you know, a lot going for it. So, and it's an assassin, so you've got something going for it. On to the next.
Stronghold Assassin. So 1 black creature assassin, obviously. Tap it and sacrifice a creature, destroy target non-black creature. So yeah, this is cool. It's basically a sack outlet, and you're destroying basically another creature, which is again really cool. So maybe you want to sack stuff that's got memory counters on it, so then you can, you know, do bits with it a bit later on. So it's definitely on theme. It's an assassin, and it's a sack out there as well, which is cool.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit going for it. It's only a 3-drop, and it's a 2/1. I think it's a pretty good card to go in this deck. And then we're going on to some things which are going to be thematic with the deck. You know, from a non-creature perspective. So this is Utter End. It's 2 white and a black, and you can exile target non-land permanent. So the interesting thing here is you can target your own non-land permanents. So if you have memory counters, you know, you want to get more cards into your exile so that your commander can obviously create token copies of it. It's basically a way of cheating out some of your cards, you know. So it's a really interesting one. So this is an include. I think this deck wants to get cards in your exile into exile. So yeah, it's an interesting one. The next card.
Mortify. 1 white black, destroy target creature or enchantment. Again, this is just a little tasty one that you want to protect yourself. It says destroy, so I guess it's not going into exile. But there's ways of getting cards from graveyard into exile. So you could target your own stuff as well, just like you said a second ago. Which I think is really thematic and exactly what you need. So it could be used to protect, it could be used to build. So it's a pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. It suits both. Yeah, that's a bloody good point. Yeah, used to protect or used to build. It's either way, either or. And the same with this one, right? It's used to build or protect. Exactly. Okay, on to the next. Terminate. So you got access to red in this. So there's a couple of bangers in here. Terminate is a black and a red, and it's an instant. Destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. I mean, this is a pretty banger of pretty banging card. And yeah, that's that basically. On to the next.
Vindicate. It's a 1 white black and destroy target permanent. Again, you're just destroying these things, and yourself again or your opponents. It's great.
Yeah. On to the next. It's Blade of the Blood Chief. It's a 1-drop artifact enchantment. Artifact equipment. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. If equipped creature is a vampire, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it instead. There's a couple of vampires in this deck. I've put a couple. There's a couple which have come into this deck tech. So I mean, you could be boosting those up by +2/+2. But then I think like the other thing here is that mainly you're going to be getting loads of cards in your graveyard. So I think you could easily have a +10/+10 on your hands here. So for a 1-drop and then an equip cost of 1, I mean it's pretty much a no-brainer. On to the next.
Whisper Silk Cloak. It's a 3. Quick creature has unblockable. Wow. Quick creature has Shroud as well, which is basically hexproof. And it costs 2 to equip as well. So it's a little bit spendy maybe for 5, but once you get it on something, it becomes real pain in the neck for everybody else, which is exactly what you want. So yeah, it's sick. Whisper Silk Cloak. I love it.
Yeah.
Love that one.
I love it as well. On to the next, Outlaws Merriment. So I think this kind of goes perfectly with this deck, to be totally honest with you. It's 1 red and 2 white. So it's 4 mana in total. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose 1 at random, create a red and white creature token with those characteristics. So you have to choose 1 at random. So yeah, pretty interesting. I guess you'd have to roll. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really know how that would work. You can roll a d3 maybe, but I don't really know how that would work. But anyways, so basically you have to choose 1 at random. So it's a 3-1 human warrior with trample and haste. You've got a 2-1 human cleric with lifelink and haste, and then you've got a 1-2 human rogue with haste. And when this creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to any target. So I mean, this is just an interesting one. It's an easy one of being able to just get some small creatures out as blockers and just maintain them on the battlefield. These are like we're kind of getting to the tail end of like the really impactful cards here, but there's a couple of bangers that would aid this set. Sam,
Shared Animosity. It's a 2 red enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until the end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. That's cool. Yeah, you've got a lot of assassins going on in this deck. So yeah, that's really cool. Whenever a creature you control attacks. Yeah, so basically you're just ramping, you're getting +1/+0 until the end of the turn for each other creature that shares it. Wow. Yeah, I've just wrapped my head around it. That's really helpful. And you're going to be, does that then also include if you've got like doubling season, it will double?
Yeah, I mean, you won't have doubling season in here, but I think, yeah, I there are some cards that allow you to, get like basically get more +1/+1.
Roaming Thrones?
Yeah, Roaming Thrones. Yeah, Roaming Thrones. Yeah. I mean, that's I think if you create a token, I think that doubles it. But I think because you've got white in here, you've got things like Oge Attack, which I believe is counter doubler. But there's a few. But yeah, but basically here you're laughing because if you've got 10. Yeah. If you've got 10 assassins out and they're all swinging out, each of them get +10 until the end of turn. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then I think this is the last one. I think we've got a planeswalker. Well, no, we've got 2 planeswalkers. There's another one after this. So you'll wrap this one up for us, Sam. But here's a planeswalker from Magic's history that would go really well with this deck. It's Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. It's 2 white and a black. And it's a planeswalker. It has a +1, which is put a +1/1 black vampire creature token with lifelink onto the battlefield. Then there's a -2. You get an emblem with creatures you control get +1/+0. And then you've got -6, which is destroy up to 3 target creatures and or planeswalkers. Return each card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. So basically, you get to so basically you could blink cards this way as well. So very interesting way of being able to get enters the leaves the battlefield and then enters the battlefield triggers. So I think there's some interesting things you could definitely do with that. And then
not least, Nariari, the Harbinger, 2 a red. Jesus.
Nari.
Oh god damn it. It's okay. It's a planeswalker. +2. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Fair play. You might want to be discard. I don't know how memory counters work, but yeah. We'll see. -2. Exile target enchantment, tapped artifact, or tapped creature. That's a bit tasty. Enchantment removals rare to come by, so this is definitely going to be one that you might want. -8. Search your library for an artifact or creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It gains haste. Return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. Awesome.
Yeah, that's
that's
nuts.
really, really awesome.
Absolutely nuts. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could just keep getting into the battlefield triggers with that one. I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty cool. And I think, yeah, I don't know. It's just a pretty cool card. But yeah, so I think that is the end. That wraps it up for this deck tech. I mean, I really like this Assassin's Creed kind of set. I think there's some cool things going for it. I really like this card design. I think the card design is banging. And I think I love this mechanic of, you know, when you exile, when it attacks, you exile up to one target Assassin's creature from your graveyard with memory counter. And then basically you can create a token copy of each of your exiled cards that have memory counters on them. So what I think we will need to do is keep the people, the viewers, updated as to what this means. What are memory counters? We'll find out. So you need to make sure you're subscribed so that we can let you know, let the people know what's going on. But yeah, anyways, that is our video today. That's our deck tech for Altair. We've got some cool videos coming up. So again, make sure you're subscribed. And this is Yordo Baggins of the Shire Cretins and Samwise Buzzspell signing out from Universes Beyond. See you on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.